Oh my goodness gracious. He's live. Overcoming burnout through sheer brute force. Ain't he just a wonder? No, I'm not gonna say that. But I am going to share this stream on my Discord at everyone. 10 parts. No way. All right. Now I just chill out, hang out for a little bit before I jump into what I can only quantify as the deep end of everything. I'm going to silence my phone, because that is going to get really annoying if I keep looking at it. All right. Now your host, the Sam Hyde Show, or something like that. Your host is the show itself. Nerfs. Okay, this entire thing is the Nerfs chapter, so I'm just going to slide it over and we're going to start cutting it up. I'm also going to close this so that I can grab the... There we go. Okay. Oop, and the display is already freaking out. All right. Just gonna start chopping, slicing, and dicing. You know what they say. Do they say that? I don't know. I did actually start streaming, right? Yeah. It's going. It's alright. Strem live. Welcome in, Bonk42. I'm just chopping up the nerfs right now so that I can start editing them all together. I'm gonna pause on the chapter markers, the intermediary parts, because honestly, every time I listen to people's voices, it just burns me out. But it's a lot easier to handle with you guys. I was trying to edit them offline, but I couldn't really do it, so I'd much rather do that online when I can at least vent to people who I know are listening, more or less, you know? All right. Let's see. Damage reduction, Hamburger. I don't know. You suck. Did I overshoot it? Yeah, I did overshoot it. Okay. Ooh, that was a harsh cut on my end. Okay. Gotta close that. I'm just gonna have to listen to it. Okay, so that's all of them. Alright. So these are all the proposed nerfs, with obviously number 5 and number 10 being the biggest ones. Sorry for not streaming earlier in the day, by the way. It's just couldn't get up in the morning. I've not been sleeping well. This is a long video. I gotta think about how I want to stage this.
It's so cold.
It's probably not necessary, though. Hello.
Sorry if I missed some spots down there. I am not trying to, like... I ain't doing all that anymore.
You're good.
I did my best.
Okay. You would think, but a lot of people don't think of reason. Mashilo Magoro K6M. Sunglasses, thumbs up. How it feels to try to fix laptop fans. Hello. Welcome in, Torred. I'm just taking care of all the nerfs right now because I don't want to do the chapter markers with all those videos. It's just annoying. I'm gonna have to do it at some point. It's just I'm just putting it off because I'm procrastinating. Oh right, yeah. I should notate all the nerfs for y'all. Let me find my table of contents. Here we go. These are all the proposed nerfs for Sniper that are the most popular to come across. After I address each one of them individually, I'm going to have to write up a dissection of them in terms of how drastic it would be if you applied multiple of them at once. Though it's not the most necessary part of the script, to be honest. It's a very complicated business right now because I'm actually getting to the point now where I have to begin writing the outro parts of the video. Scary, honestly, to think that it's already at this point, you know?
Are you streaming right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you need help?
No, what?
Oh, sick. Right on. So that was Nerf 1, which was tracers. Nerf 2 is a laser that indicates where he's pointing. I think Shonik did an experiment on that, and Shonik's fan base is ravenously anti-sniper, so they'll agree with anything, and he'll just take that as conclusion. I'm right, because my sample size is too small, and it's full of people who agree with me already. We should nerf Sniper by making him lime green for visibility, like Quake enemies. Oh no. This is nerf 3, which is scope glint for visibility. I honestly should address in the outro at some point why the laser dot is fine, because it is just fine once your expectations have been adjusted to understand it. The funny thing is that this very much ties into the problem that most people have, where their expectations are stagnant because they are very obstinate people who want to modify their expectations as little as possible. And so, which I find kind of strange considering that you had to modify your expectations at some point to get an understanding of the game in the first place. But, you know, trying to make sense of a fool's mind is, in and of itself, a probably foolish endeavor. Hey, welcome in, Elias Sin. Elias Sin 7. We should turn Sniper into a cactus. Yes, indeed. It'll match the prickly response people have to his presence. And then nerf 4, which is an ammo count reduction, which is stupid. I've never seen a good justification for Sniper's ammo decrease being needed. Outside of, he just has too much, okay? This is verifiably true. Okay, I put the laptop back together. Let's hope using the proper order for heat sink screws is enough. Uh-oh. Oh no, you gotta bounce. No! Alright, well, thanks for popping in anyway. Mashalo Magoro, amazing. Yes, indeed. Oops. Now I'm freaking OBS out. Oop, alright. That is a big one. Holy cow, it's like 12 minutes long. 11 minutes long. Long range. Apparently. Let's put this. Yeah, put this here. I'll save this image as well, just in case. Just in case that's needed. Actually, I'm gonna. Yeah, and then. There we go. Damage, ramp up and fall off. TF2 wiki. Cool. And then come to pictures. We'll grab all 3 of these, store them in the root folder. There we go. I'm just going to drop them on the top so I can mess around with them. Oh, you look very pretty. What if you gave Sniper an actual ammo pool? He still has the same amount of overall ammo, though after 5 shots he has to reload a magazine. That'd be redundant. It's a bolt-action sniper rifle can function either way, but this isn't a Halo rifle, you know. And I think people would get mad that he could fire quicker and only reload slower every so often. Plus, it's not the most intuitive method for a simple, more arcadey style shooter game. And also consider too, this was just how he was designed in Quake, and his TF2 version is just the reflection of the Quake game, but adjusted to the vast redesign of the source game. So it's not, I would say it's a bit too complicated. I still don't know what this is. What do you mean? RN with Caitlin. This is me editing my TF2 sniper video, because I'm silly enough to do something like that. That's not what I'm saying. He still has to pull the bullet out. I don't fully understand then. I might know what you mean, but I'm not fully certain. Like, you're saying the firing and the reloading is still exactly the same, but then after 5 shots he has to reload an entire magazine, which would take a longer reload time? The casing, rather? Yeah, it would be the casing. Can you play what you got so far? I mean, you want me to play you almost 2.5 hours of video? Because that's what I've got so far. That's the scope of this project. I've been working on this, technically speaking, for well over a year, but the majority of the writing and the editing has been over the last, if I go to my playlists, it's probably the last 4 or 5 months. Let's go to live streams. What did I wait for it to load? Show a minute of it. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, the casing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe that could work, but I just think it would be a little, I don't know. It doesn't seem the most consistent, because every other weapon in the game is either a constant fire thing, or it's a weapon that is constantly reloading its maximum clip size. So the reload time never moves depending on the status of the weapon, right? The reload time of any round is always the same. So for Sniper to be the only exception to that, there would need to be a justification for that I'm not really sure can be made. Anyways, the writing of this video, part 4, part 3, wow. So I started live streaming this in February. Holy cow. Yeah, it's been a while. No, yeah, I guess that'd be off. I don't think you gotta go that much in detail, bro. Well, I don't know. Most people who say that are already against the class function, but the reason I go into this much detail is because there's a significant amount of mechanical analysis that is being either taken for granted or misinterpreted by people who talk about this. So I want to provide clarity on the situations that other folks, other YouTubers and stuff, they don't go out of their way to do. And I don't know if that's because they don't want to because they think it disproves their points, or if they genuinely don't know. I'm not trying to assume malice here in this video's scope, but I mean, I'm not. There's a certain depth to all of this that is startlingly unrepresented, and I want to be the representation for that because I think it's worth it. I don't know what minute you want me to go for, because I've got the history of the class, which is also a history of the franchise, because Sniper's been in the Team Fortress franchise literally since day one. And then I go through all the popular arguments against Sniper's functionality or presence in the game. And now we're addressing the suggested nerfs, the more popular suggested nerfs that the community has made, which is all of these right here. And so I don't know which part of the video you want me to adjust. Are you in a music studio, by the way? No, I'm in a trailer. I live in a trailer. Funny you say music studio, though, because I am indeed a musician, but I do not have a studio. No, I just do everything here at the computer. So yeah, if you want like a specific part of the video to watch through, I'll gladly like find it for you and play it for you, because I've been editing for so long now that I've pretty much memorized every part of the video. I say that and then I'll forget where certain things are. Just surprise you? Okay. I admit that's a little bit of an odd request. I haven't gotten a request like that before. Let's do argument 2, which is because Sniper is the only long-range class in the game, right? Or at least he's the best at it. Killing him is disproportionately difficult than any other class in the game. So that's the argument. This is my response, right? This is something that people say a lot when regards to Sniper. So. Oh, what? You can't hear the... Oh, no. Okay, give me a sec.
As I can on the matter.
Can you hear it now?
Even the most thorough of explanations don't directly define the terms effective, difficult, and balanced. As a result, their argument assumes you agree with their...
Did you guys get that? I can't believe I haven't been streaming the audio. I am so sorry. That is a huge mistake on my end. Aw, sorry. That's a little embarrassing. Darn. Alright, well, I'll restart the sector. Let's just drop it here.
There is an equation that people often use for balance known as effectiveness divided by difficulty. The way it's supposed to work is to create a measurement for the effectiveness of a particular action taken and the impact on the general outcomes versus how difficult that action was to pull off. In theory, if the action is reasonably effective while taking a certain level of difficulty to pull off, then the action itself is balanced. The reason I bring this equation up at all is because I tend to find this argument somewhat commonly when discussing the idea that Sniper is unilaterally harder to kill than any other class in the game. Yes, people argue even to the unilateral metric, and we will talk about that soon enough, trust me. But I'd like to talk about the equation first, as it provides a nice window into why the core argument, that being that Sniper is harder to kill than any other class in the game, is ridiculous, and why the people who propagate this argument simply don't know what they're talking about. Now, one of the most glaring issues with this argument is that the terms are always assumed. But Snake, that's how people work. People assume what you mean from the words you said, because that's what the words mean. Yes, I know, that's not what I'm talking about here. What I mean is that I have looked across many discussion boards and comment sections as I can on the matter, and even the most thorough of explanations don't directly define the terms effective, difficult, and balanced. As a result, their argument assumes you agree with their solution before you agree with their use of the terminology. To demonstrate this point, allow me to start with effectiveness, which is probably the most egregious in terms of not getting a proper explanation. What does effective in this equation actually mean? Does it mean conducive to the objective? If so, in what way? Ensuring that the objective is easier to achieve, that it can be achieved with very little effort or even no effort, that the objective is achieved as a result of the supposedly effective action. Does it mean how many kills someone can get? If so, why is that the metric for effective? Is there a correlation, even, between kills and the status of the objective, thereby allowing both possibilities to exist at the same time? If so, is that a satisfactory explanation of what the word effective would mean in this case? What about what's most effective in a particular moment in time as opposed to something else? Does a certain action that would be effective at one point wind up not being as effective in another? Say, for example, an Uber charge timed perfectly versus an Uber charge that isn't timed perfectly. There's no variables to help solve for conditions in which effectiveness changes beyond the static boundaries of this equation. This is a terrible metric for effectiveness. Then we have difficulty, which is just...
Anyways, I don't know if you wanted to watch the whole thing, because it's a bit long, but this is kind of the format in which I'm editing this video. Why is the intel on screen when you talk about Sniper? What do you mean? Oh, these are just background images. These are just background images because there's not a... I'm talking more in the conceptual realm of things, and I admit to this is also because I'm trying to work around a limitation with my computer. My graphics card is not very good anymore. It's kind of dying, and as a result, I have to edit very minimally to get my point across. Like, to use visuals, I have to use achievement icons and stuff at times, and I can do my best to put visuals up, but it's not professional by any means, because I don't have the power to do it. I am not equipped to handle that sort of thing. So it sucks, but it's what I've got. And for those who can bear it and sit through it and listen to the video or watch it just very patiently, then good on them. I'm just working within my limitations here. Is it a sleep video? No. I think you will get something better one day. Hopefully. I hope so. I was actually a very generous viewer of mine was trying to mail me an older graphics card he had that was probably more powerful than this one, but the package bounced the other day and returned it to him. It never made it to my doorstep, so I'm still just operating with the graphics card I have. Yeah, I don't... this is just the limitations of my computer. I don't even know if I'm going to have background music for this video, because background music at this point is more of a distraction from the point of the video, which is all the arguments and all of this dialogue, and I don't want there to be any distractions from that. So yeah, I don't know. The video editor app is so optimized. What, this one? It's not the most professional, but it's the one I know, so yeah, I use it because I like it.
For almost every weapon in the game, excluding melees, damage is calculated such that only from 500...
Okay, I have to chop this down. Can I just... Oh. Can I scoot this? No. Just drag it here. There we go. And then just bring this out more so I can just have some space to operate within. There we go.
Excluding melees. Damage is calculated such that only from 500 source provide.
The PNG. How is it not lagging? Oh, it lags a ton. It lags a ton all the time. You watch any of my other streams and it will frequently lag. You'll probably get more lag this time around as well. I'm just lucky. I'm just lucky right now that my computer's willing to cooperate. Because that's really all I ever get is luck to get by on a lot of this.
Only from 512 map units away does the damage source provide base damage. Any melees. Damage is calculated such that only from 512 map units away does the damage source provide base damage. Any closer, and it ramps up, with point blank being 150% the otherwise regular damage value. Any farther, and it scales down, with maximum fall off at 1024 map units shrinking to 50% of the base damage. For example, Sniper's SMG deals 8 damage points per bullet at base. This means at point blank, each bullet deals 12.
Okay, so this is where the SMG thing starts?
For example,
yeah. So I'm going to bring it here. Yeah, see, it's lagging a ton to the point where it thinks I was zooming in when I was zooming out the whole time. I'm going to have to use a white background. Ugh. Hideous. Scale down. And then I'm going to drag source. Yeah, no, see, it lags a ton. Source TF2 wiki. Up to 10 points, and it should... Yeah, that's good. And just chunk it down. But, you know, it's lag that I've always been used to. Like, even as a kid, I used to animate things in Autodesk Maya on, like, a Windows 8 computer, or Windows 8.1 computer with, like, a 1.6 gigahertz CPU. So, basically everything outside of Movie Maker for my entire life has been laggy to an extreme. So, I've never had issues, you know, with lag and all that. It's just, I just accept it as part of the nature of things. So, I'm just rocking and rolling the way I always do, you know? Let's do, yeah. Is there a Discord server? Yeah, there's a Discord server for me. The package got intercepted by OpenAI. Yeah. They don't want me making a sniper video. Yeah, it's in the description of my channel. Yeah, you can join it to like talk and stuff. I'm always hoping that folks talk. Why don't you edit on phone or something? I think if you didn't stream, it wouldn't really lag. No, it lags. In fact, the funny thing is that whenever I edit offline, the computer tends to crash. But streaming, for some reason, keeps the computer alive. So at this point, I'm streaming because it's what keeps the computer from dying. I don't know why. It's only lagged and almost crashed once, ever. But it likes to crash whenever I'm offline. I don't know why. I don't know what you mean by edit on a phone, though. I don't think I could edit a 3-hour video on a smartphone. Unless that's not what you mean, because I don't think that's what you would mean. Let's do, where... Yeah, I should keep Paint open. Sniper SMG stats TF2 wiki. And then we'll come back in here, reload, and drop it here. There we go.
For example, Sniper's SMG deals 8 damage points per bullet at base. This means at point blank, each bullet deals 12 damage, and at maximum fall off, each bullet deals 4 damage. Pretty simple, right? There are, however, a few weapons that are exempt from this rule due to special properties. Flare gun.
So let's do the source again, which is TF2 wiki. I think the source for all of this is going to be go back, TF2 wiki. Although I should shrink this a little bit. Let's do 0.8. Yeah, that should be fine. Can I try making a thumbnail for this video? You can if you'd like, but I must confess I've already asked a good friend of mine to do it. He's been making thumbnails for me since I was like making pre-Fortress videos like 3 or 4 years ago now. So, I'm having him make a thumbnail, but you can make one if you want. I can't promise, unfortunately, that I'll use it because I've already asked somebody to do it. Sorry.
It's pretty simple, right? There are, however, a few weapons that are exempt from this rule due to special properties. Flare guns are exempt due to their additional property of afterburn. Pipes from Demoman's various grenade launchers, excluding the loose cannon, are exempt on direct hit and rolling explosion. Sticky bombs from any sticky launcher are
Oh, that's another argument for Demoman being a more long-range class if you really want to go that far, because you can launch... Hang on. The wiki says that the distance from endpoint to endpoint of the outside area of 2 fort is 1024 map units, right? So if I load Gold Rush and just put in... Gosh, this game loads so fast. Holy cow. So let's do map CTF 2 fort. Because if I load the map, and it's, if I can get a pipe bomb all the way over there, because on direct hit, there's no fall off, and fall off only applies to stickies past a certain time frame, right? I meant for the fun. Okay, well, yeah, then you can do that for sure. Are you still in the bathroom that plays Pyro's song? Ha, no. That was at a rest stop while I was traveling. I don't even remember where that was. I was just out and about, and I just needed to use the bathroom, and it was just there. Okay, so let's move out here. Quickly now. Okay, so according to the wiki, it's about from here to here is 1024 map units. Okay, so I can't get all the way over there, but definitely to the point where the damage fall off kicks in. So anything past like the middle point of the fall off point, I suppose, could be considered long range. That's kind of crazy. How far can this go again? Jeez. Wee. Okay. Alright, quit the game. I'm surprised you referenced that short. I forget that I have YouTube shorts at all because I've defeated my YouTube to not show them to me anymore. And should put them all in a playlist and then unlist them because it's kind of annoying to have them there.
are exempt from this rule due to special properties. Flare guns are exempt due to their additional property of afterburn. Pipes from Demoman's various grenade launchers, excluding the loose cannon, are exempt on direct hit and rolling explosion. Sticky bombs from any sticky launcher are exempt only after they have been placed for longer than 5 seconds. Ignoring blast damage falloff, which is a separate calculation, this means that only sticky bombs detonated within the first 5 seconds of them being fired are subject to damage ramp-up or fall-off relative to player position. Scout's Flying Guillotine is also exempt due to its additional property of bleed damage. The last category of weapons that ignores damage ramp-up and fall-off are the entirety of Sniper's primary weapons. This means, at base, Sniper's rifles will always deal their given damage values with no influence from the distance of the target. Sniper doesn't deal additional damage to a target that's closer, nor does he deal less damage to a target that's farther away. Considering how his entire point is to kill targets that are far away, this seems reasonable. Even the Huntsman, a bow and arrow weapon that subtracts base damage from Sniper, is exempt from damage fall-off, dealing 50 damage from from a quick fire, 120 damage from a...
Let's do Huntsman stats now. Huntsman. Love that thumbnail graphic. Which thumbnail graphic? Which one? What are you talking about? Which one? You mean the one in Gold Rush, the background screen? When I loaded the game up? Because yeah, that's a sick one. They don't do that in the base game anymore because they changed the theming of the game up in 2015. It doesn't look that way anymore. Why are you so depressed? I'm not depressed. Why are you depressed?
You literally have a baby on the way.
What?
You literally have a baby on the way.
Yeah, seriously. I have a baby on the way. Why should I be depressed? I'm not depressed. I am living literally my best life.
Entire point is to kill targets that are...
Let's do Huntsman stats here. Yeah. I can just copy this. Let's do... You good?
I'm hungry. There's not a lot that's ready to eat right now. And the smell is getting to me that I put on myself.
Oh,
That's not as bad as the last time because it's the Vaseline lotion and not
yeah.
the one.
It's still overwhelming, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, let's shrink this again as well. We'll do... Oh, wait, I can just... I actually don't need this one. I can just bring this one out farther, right? Yeah. In a trailer. What, so me living in a trailer is indicative of depression? That's a pretty loony thought, I gotta say. I live in a trailer because my financial situation necessitates that, but that does not mean I am depressed. Sir.
Considering how
Or ma'am. I don't know what you are.
his entire point is to kill targets that are far away, this seems reasonable. Even the Huntsman, a bow and arrow weapon that subtracts base damage from Sniper, is exempt from damage fall-off, dealing 50 damage from a quick fire, 120 damage from a fully drawn body shot, and 360 damage from a headshot of any charge. Again, all regardless of Sniper's present position. What I'm getting at by bringing this up is that
Maybe I should tackle this through a different angle, because I don't know. People are going to be real persnickety about the damage stuff. I don't know. Not what I said. Well, I don't know what you're saying, because your sentences are so short. So if I'm misunderstanding, I apologize. But I need some more clarification.
bringing this up is that by the nature of damage calculations in TF2, any class that can make his way over to Sniper to exploit him has the upper hand. Let's take the classes designed to best contest Sniper, excluding himself. Scout's base weapon, the scattergun, at
Scattergun. Excuse me. There we go. Oh, that didn't load in. Please don't be depressed. I'm not depressed. What gives you the impression that I'm depressed? I don't understand. Somebody thinks I'm depressed. Why do you think I'm depressed? Well, because I have my head turned down and like that I'm not like looking up or anything. I'm looking down because my monitor is down here. I don't understand what gives you the impression that I'm depressed.
Me too.
Did I say something?
Scout's base
I was fooling around if I said anything, but I don't remember saying anything.
weapon, the scattergun, at maximum damage ramp-up deals 105 damage.
Yeah.
A point-blank meat shot brings Sniper down to just 20 health. That's enough for a single point-blank pistol bullet to finish off, but
It's actually true. Let's do pistol. I'm pretty sure I do the Force of Nature as well, right? Maximum ramp up is 22. That's crazy. They really did have to nerf the pistol with the. No, I'm kidding. It's not nerf, but it is a secondary weapon because of the cone spread. There we go. This is an intervention. Don't jump, please. Please don't die. Why? What? Why would I die? I haven't given you an impression that I'm going to die at all.
What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Give Sniper the pistol as a secondary. Actually, wait, hang on. Oh, sorry. SMG. If we compare the damage stats between the pistol and the SMG, where we get hit scan, bullet ranged. The only thing going for the... Oh, wait. 50 to 1, 80 to 1. Wow. The pistol is stronger in almost every aspect, essentially. Buff Sniper by giving him the pistol instead of the SMG. You're crazy. That would be funny, though. Just as an experiment. It'd be like giving Medic a shotgun instead of a syringe gun. Yeah, pistol is really strong. I always remember that that Vorbe video where he was running around trying to get a kill streak with the pistol as an engineer. Pretty much just using the pistol. It was kind of funny. I guess if you're that good, you know?
Even under more reasonable is to just fire another scattergun shot. Even under more reasonable circumstances where the scout is just within arm's reach of the sniper, that's still around 100 damage from just one scattergun shot. That's so much as...
Oh, shoot. I didn't want to delete that. No. Just bring it back over here. There you go.
Within arm's reach of the sniper, that's still around 100 damage from just one scattergun shot that so much as 4 or 5 of the 10 bullets fired from a second scattergun shot can finish off. Spy's revolver has a base damage of 40, with maximum ramp-up being maximum...
Okay, now we're doing revolvers. I've had neck problems since I was young. Teachers used to think I was sad when they saw me walking in the halls, down the halls in the morning, but nah, my head was just 90 degrees. Look, if I could show you guys my setup right now, it's not that I'm depressed. It's that I'm running off of a 5.4 monitor that sits below me, basically. So I'm always looking down at it. If I sit up, like, perfectly straight, if I sit perfectly straight like this and I look straight ahead, I am looking over my wife's head because even her sitting on the couch in front of me is, like, shorter than my direct line of sight. You sent me the thumbnail? You just whipped one up already? What the heck? Are you using AI? How the heck did you get something done that quick? Let me take a look at it. Oh. That's kind of funny. I'm gonna save this to my computer. I_tried.png. That's good. That is really good. I'm going to use this for the next stream thumbnail. That is really funny. Oh my gosh. Here, I'm going to open this up here so I can show y'all. Ain't no way this is AI. This is actually peak. You used Ibis Paint. Look at this, guys. Look at this class act. This is amazing. I'm using this for the next stream. That is so good. That is so funny. Right on. That's good.
Bullets fired from a second scattergun shot can finish off. Spy's revolver.
That is really funny. So where's the title text clip? they just didn't use. There's so many. Oh, I might be using this already, so I'm not going to risk it. So many. So many title text clips. There we go.
And the scattergun at just 20 health. That's enough for a...
Yeah, I'll just keep it like that because I don't need to scale. Well, I'll scale this one down anyway. I'll try to keep it not touching. Let's do 0.9. That should be... Yeah, that's fine. That's good enough. Let's do Spy's Revolver. Revolver. Is that the Eminem? The real Eminem? Yes, that is the real Eminem. I am friends on Discord with the real Eminem. Which is hilarious to me because I don't listen to his music at all. But, you know, I think he doesn't mind. Just said TF2 twice in that title. It doesn't matter. Slime your barber. Slime your barber. GNG. Why is barber GNG one word? And what does GNG even mean? You'll have to pardon me. I'm a bit too not brain rotted to understand what things mean. So if that's like a modern internet slang thing, I am lost on that. And I don't think you're going to recover me. I don't know. Besides, I don't necessarily have a barber outside of getting this trimmed up once in a while. So, although now that you remind me, I should keep it down more. There we go. See? Long hair. GNG equals gang. Why? Is it that much effort to put one more letter? Why is that the slang? That is really stupid. Jeez.
Under circumstances where a spy can't backstab a sniper, for example, in the event where a spy's revolver has a base damage of 40 with maximum range.
This actually will probably bleed onto it too, doesn't it? No, it doesn't. That's amazing.
Example, in the event where a sniper is using the Razorback, spy can still get within backstab range and fire 3 bullets to finish off the sniper. This is especially effective when timed right, a skill spy players should already be developing anyway, since landing the first bullet while sniper is scoped in forces either the sniper to take the shot he was already trying to hit, switch to the SMG or his melee as soon as possible, then begin attacking, or simply switch weapons and react to the spy, missing out on perhaps a more important thing out. This is especially effective when since landing the first bullet while
essentially forcing sniper to make a decision. Make a very critical in the moment decision. That hair reminds me of that one sniper cosmetic. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about because my thumbnail maker has used that one before in a couple of them. This one, I think, especially. Yeah, it's the hair back here, and then also the hair was present in this one. It's this one right here in the back of my head. And then also this one. Did he use it in this one? Yeah, he did. He did have it in here because it clips in. It's kind of funny. It's kind of cool.
landing the first bullet while sniper is scoped in forces either the sniper to take the shot he was already trying to hit, switch to the SMG or his melee as soon as possible, then begin attacking, or the first bullet while sniper is... Since landing the first bullet while sniper is scoped in forces either the sniper to...
Let's actually be a little funny about this and do a sort of title card thing. Sniper... Wait. Spy has landed the first strike. Sniper has to Sniper must.
Target long term. Heck, throwing the Girardi would waste even more time at that point, since it's less time not damaging the spy and more time preparing for higher damage. Damage that, by that point, might not be viable, considering that all of what I just described takes, when factoring in a good sniper player's reaction time to taking damage from an unseen source and weapon switch speeds post-Tough Break update, at best around 0.6 to 0.8 seconds, and at worst just shy of 2 full seconds. Within either of those timeframes, Spy should be walking backwards, assuming of course that it's safe to do so, would have already landed the second shot, bringing Sniper's health roughly down to between 20 and 30, and by the time Sniper can begin attacking, due to the revolver's half-second attack interval, the third shot has been fired and landed. Sniper would be dead via Spy's gun. These are just two
Very basic. This is what I'm over explaining right now is a very basic interaction in the game, but you know.
I ate the rest of the tortillas chips.
Cool. It's peak if you use that cosmetic in TF2. Doesn't fit the art style, so I don't really want to.
Cosmetic?
No, there's a long hair cosmetic that I was showing. This one. This has been used on some of my thumbnails before.
Since landing the first bullet while Sniper is scoped in forces either the Sniper to take the shot he was already
Should have said the Sniper either, not either the Sniper, but whatever. It's not going to be the most detrimental thing in the world. Fire the shot. Let's shrink it and then that should be at the right scaling, right? Yeah.
to take the shot he was already.
There we go. It's going to be one of these layers again.
Shot he was already trying to hit. Switch to the SM.
That actually might not be the right. Yeah, I was going to say. Yeah.
Then begin attacking, or SMG or his melee as soon as possible.
Kukri.
As soon as possible, then begin attacking, or simply switch weapons and react to the spy, missing out on or simply switch weapons and react to the spy.
Wait.
Switch to the SMG scoped in forces either the sniper to take the shot he was already trying to hit, switch to the SMG or his melee.
Oh, okay, got it.
Then begin attacking, or simply
Oops. Yeah, that should be fine.
simply switch weapons and react to the spy, missing out on perhaps a more important target long term. Heck, throwing the Girardi would waste even more time at
Throw Girardi, then attack? Question mark. Wrong direction. Yeah, there we go. That's a good one. Let's see. How are you 10 hours ahead of me, bro? I just am? I don't know. Time zones. I don't know. That's just how it is.
Term. Heck, throwing the Jarate would waste even more time at that point, since it's less time not damaging the spy and more time preparing for higher damage. Damage that, by that point, might not be viable, considering that all of what I just described takes, when factoring in a good sniper player's reaction time to taking damage from an unseen source and weapon switch speeds post-Tough Break update, at best around...
I don't need it that small, my gosh. There we go.
At best around...
Bro. Oh, fine. We'll do it your way then.
At best, around 0.6 to... Within either of those time frames, spy should be walking backwards. Spy should be walking... Within either...
Yes, this is a very convoluted way of doing this, but I do not care. This is better. I think this far down should be fine. Yeah, one more. I think one more paragraph down should be correct. Yeah, that's much better.
Seconds. Within either of those time frames, spy should be walking backwards, assuming, of course, that it's... Spy should be walking backwards.
Let's do... Wait, was the base lettering? Boneheaded. Good. Just clearing it to make absolutely sure, because it sometimes will glitch if I'm not careful. There we go. Title text. Let's see, and we're gonna do spy walks backwards. Oh.
Would have already landed the second...
I think this is going to be a members only video. Maybe. I don't know. I post a lot of the chapters I complete unlisted to Discord, but members get other particular videos like grand compilations versus how would you put it? The versus just tiny pieces, But they also get other pieces that I am not posting to Discord because they need something.
So, would have all.
I mean, they're paying a lot. $5 is a lot. Although I don't know if that's me being poor, but
Would have already landed the second shot, bringing Sniper's health roughly down to between 20 and 30. And by the time Sniper can begin attacking, due to the revolver's half-second attack interval, the third shot has been fired and landed. Second attack interval.
Yeah, there we go.
The third shot has been fired and landed. Sniper would be dead via Spy's gun. These are just two base-level examples of two classes the Sniper is particularly weak against, utilizing the game's inherent system of calculating damage against him. The only weapons that follow the damage ramp-up and fall-off mechanic are his two SMGs. Meanwhile, Spy has a revolver that for the only
Count 'em 2.
only weapons that follow the damage ramp-up and fall-off mechanic are his two.
I need images of the SMGs.
The only weapons that follow the damage ramp-up and fall-off mechanic are his count 'em
2. Just stack them on top of each other. Oh. There.
The damage ramp-up and fall-off mechanic are his two SMGs. Meanwhile, Spy has a
Get his face kicked in too. Let's see. Let's go to Spy's weaponry. Have I missed anything? No. Okay. Just trying to make sure I'm not missing anything from chat. I'm just making sure. Yeah.
The revolver that, for as neutered as it is, can still deal 102 damage on a headshot at effective range, and a revolver that grants a damage bonus for firing while disguised, while piercing potential damage resistances. Scout has far deadlier options in the forms of his scattergun alternatives, including but not limited to my personal favorite, the Force of Nature, a weapon that deals 113 damage at point blank as opposed to the scattergun's 105, and can inflict knockback on the target directly proportional to the damage delivered. And if that wasn't enough, though the weapon MGs. Meanwhile,
All of this to say that you are given all of the options possible to deal with Sniper, and you still complain. But you know, Sniper's overpowered because Zesty Jesus said so. Gosh, I don't want to do those chapter cards, but I'm going to have to. The problem is that I'm procrastinating doing them because it's the most annoying part. Bless you. Sorry, I blanked there for a sec. There we go. That's a nice looking gun for a game that does not do things that intricately. There we go. All right, that should be everything I need for this next part. So let's grab all of it and just drop it on channel 1. Sniper weak, you can sneak up on them. Yeah. You think it would be as simple as just saying that, but people have expanded the conversation to such an extent that a video like this is much more required, especially for people new to the game who are far more impressionable from YouTube videos that say things very definitively about class balance when they very obviously, to anyone who has played the game up to that point, when it's obvious that, you know, it's not reality. Sorry, I blanked on what I was going to say. It's obvious to people who have played the game up to the point of those videos that those videos are lying, but it's not obvious to new players. So,
though the weapon fires. Meanwhile, Spy has a revolver that, for as neutered as it is, can still deal 102 damage. Still deal one.
I think it was this one. Is this the ambassador? Yeah, it's the ambassador stats right here.
Revolver that grants a damage bonus effective range and a revolver that grants a damage bonus for firing while disguised, while piercing potential, and a revolver that grants a damage bonus for while piercing potential damage resistances. Scout has far MGs. Meanwhile, Spy has a...
You know what? It's probably better if I can just scoot this up and just have it overlaid somehow. Right now it's really beginning to lag because I've done so much. They only strong on Trade Plaza maps. Dude, that's true, yeah. I feel like you should put a song on the background on the video Yeah, I've been thinking about that. I don't know what kind of background music would work for a video like this because it's so analytical and there's so much to talk about that, like I said earlier, I feel like background music would distract from the point. Um, I don't know what to put over it, other than the TF2 soundtrack on loop, which would get kind of grating, I think, wouldn't it? I don't know. I have to consult people about that, but that's one of the last parts of the video editing process, so I can postpone that decision for now. What is this? Is your username Kunt Guy? CUUCOONTGY? What the heck? What is this? This is a video about TF2 Sniper. Baba is you music. What? I don't even know what that means, so I'm not answering that. I don't understand what you're talking about. Just scale that down a little bit, scoot it up here, and then do the same thing for this guy. Ooh, that was a harsh bit of lag right there.
Meanwhile, Spy has a revolver.
Holy cow, okay.
Meanwhile, Spy has a revolver that, for as neutered as it is, can still deal 102 damage on a headshot at effective range, and a revolver that grants a damage bonus for firing while disguised, while
Let's shrink this image down so that everything fits. I could do 0.75 and that should be fine, right?
while piercing potential for firing while disguised, while piercing potential damage resistances. Scout has far deadlier options.
I should also make a note that the Diamondback exists, but I honestly just want to leave that there because I think to anyone who's played the game long enough to know what the Diamondback is, they can kind of gather that the Diamondback would be very useful against Sniper. Crits that don't have fall off that are given to the Spy for just doing his job is something that people do not utilize nearly enough. Probably because there's a social stigma around it, like the Phlogistinator. But unlike the Phlogistinator, people capitulate to it. So, you know. You cry about a weapon being overpowered on one class, but it could solve another problem for you. But you're like, no. Baba Is You is the video game. Pretty sure it's copyright free. Oh, okay. I was thinking about that fun fact music people put on Cuphead shorts, but I can't find it. I think I got a song you can use. I mean, you can send stuff, but I have no promise or guarantee that I'll actually use it because if there is going to be music, it needs to be very carefully aligned with the theme of the video in general. So I need to be very careful with how I implement it.
Resistances. Scout has far deadlier options in the forms of his scattergun alternatives, including but not limited to my personal favorite, the Force of Nature, a weapon that deals 100 scatterguns 105, and can inflict knockback on the target directly proportional to the damage delivered. And if that wasn't enough, though the weapon fires only 2 shots and reloads slower, with effective use, that second shot can kill the sniper before he even has time to react to being thrown into the air. And even if he found out the scout was there and tried to prepare for a quickscope shot, the knockback will completely change the sniper's aim, as he is now trying to hit a shot at a speed he's not designed for in a position of increased vulnerability. All of this to say that just from the damage ramps
That's assuming he's not even flung into the air, because I don't think he can scope in while in midair.
Sure. A weapon that deals 113 damage at point blank as opposed to the scattergun's 105, and can inflict knockback on the target directly proportional to the damage delivered. And if that
Is there a stat here talking about the knockback? Inversely proportionate with extremely high knockback. I messed that up, I think.
inflict knockback on the target directly proportional to the damage delivered, and if that
That's a mistake. That's a big mistake.
and can inflict
I'm just going to make a note of that. Might go back and re-record that, I don't know. Yeah.
5 and can inflict knockback on the target directly proportional to the damage delivered. And if that wasn't enough, though the weapon fires only 2 shots and reloads slower, with effective use, that second
Sniper can't zoom in only when they jump. Oh, okay. Sniper can scope in after being flung into the air. Okay. Hey! Torred, you're front, not back. You're not back, but you are front. I understand. It's good to have you front.
shot can kill the sniper
Or I would suppose I should say it's bad to have you front.
before he even has time to
How far
react
do you
to
wanna
being
take this?
thrown into the air. And even if he found out the scout increased vulnerability. All of this to say that just from the damage ramp up and fall off mechanic alone, the classes that are designed to kill sniper while also being susceptible to a high skill quickscope already have the advantage of damage ramp up, while the sniper does not. Sniper requires far more precision and on-the-fly calculation than a scout or spy does in using their primary weapons to kill him. Sniper doesn't receive the damage bonus that almost every other class does with their primaries. There is as much advantage given to his opposition as possible in the scenarios where he is caught with his pants down. If a sniper nails that quickscope, he deserves it, and the opposing scout or spy should drastically reconsider how they approach someone that they have every reason to effortlessly wipe off the face of the earth. The excuse that a quickscope is too much damage for sniper to have at close range, let alone at all, is absurd. Even if the nerf was just asking that sniper benefit only from the damage fall off for long range and not the damage ramp up for close range, that would still be retarded, as the issue still exists. And if the
That is a quote-unquote issue, so I will...
retarded as the issue
I'm gonna make a note of that. Okay. That's actually fine.
the issue still exists. And if the argument
We're taking this none of the way. Ah, okay. That's why snipers can perform walk-offs, walking off the edge and scoping midair. I didn't know they could do that, probably because it's such a niche tactic. I've never had the need to do that.
from him because he just doesn't, or that it somehow isn't conducive to dynamic gameplay, the burden of proof is upon the person making such a ridiculous statement. Why should Sniper not maintain a consistent damage threshold regardless of range, when almost every other class scales damage relative to their position, even to the point of increasing their damage just by being closer? That closeness being Sniper's primary weakness, in case you forgot. Even in one of the more extreme suggestions, the more extreme suggestions of damage recalculation, that being reverse damage fall-off, why should Sniper receive a damage decrease to account for the scenarios where he's at the disadvantage in the first place? Why should Sniper receive that same damage decrease and affect the way he, and as a consequence the team, deal with particular threats and particular players that understand this near 20-year-old game enough to know how to circumvent the Sniper already? The most reasonable redux for sniper's damage I've come across is where the base damage is reduced by 10. This makes dry fires 40 damage, fully charged body shots or quickscope headshots 120 damage, and fully charged headshots 360. Why would these numbers be reasonable? Why make sniper not be able to kill an overhealed heavy, a class that's designed to stick with the medic anyways, and give heavy that opportunity to get behind cover or have the medic repair him enough to where even a quickscope headshot after the fact wouldn't kill him? Why make it so that players that already have the advantage against a sniper at close range not still have a risk of death to consider, low as that chance might be anyways? There's already the advantage of damage ramp up, which snipers still wouldn't have with this rebalance. Also, keep in mind, sniper's weapon switch speed after nailing the quickscope and having 5 health left to deal with is just enough of a window for even a moderately competent scout or spy to capitalize on. This doesn't lend sniper any credence to the encounter whatsoever, and just flips the lack of dynamic gameplay, so to speak, the other way around. All this balance does is spite the sniper. Admittedly, it's not in as obviously malicious of a manner as the rest, at least not with these numbers, but it still spites his function of controlling areas and countering large threats in his way just for existing. The reality...
Yep. And you know what they say, too? They say that you can't dodge hit scan. So you would really be screwing Sniper over if a scout or a spy got close enough to him, he nails a quickscope, and he doesn't kill them. Because, you know, if we're assuming, like so many people do about Sniper already, that the scout is within effective range and that the scout is good or the spy is good, the time it would take for Sniper to then switch to another weapon for a faster attack interval... he'd still die because, like, they would already have landed the first strike, or they're close enough to where that strike is basically on the same time as the time he quickscoped them. So it's like it's over for him. The idea that damage should be decreased at all is stupid, super stupid
numbers, but it still spites his function of controlling areas and counter. The reality is, players who complain about snipers that exploited their poor position...
Don't walk in a straight line.
The reality is, players who complain about snipers that exploited their...
What are you using for editing software? I am using a program called NCH Software Video Pad. It is not by any means a very professional tool, because I know everyone uses stuff like, you know, Wondershare Filmora or DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro or Sony Vegas or whatever, but I use this because it's just what I've been using for a long time. It's what was shown to me, and it's the only one I've ever gotten a good grasp of, and I don't want to do the learning curve of any other software. So NCH Software Video Pad.
Exploited their poor positioning and gameplay with a quickscope to send them back to respawn are, through no uncertain terms, suffering from a skill issue. If you are a scout or a spy and you find yourself in the position to contest a sniper that most likely doesn't know you're there, you are the lesser skilled player if you fail to capitalize on that. If we're assuming, like so many anti-sniper folks do when discussing game conditions, that you are magically in a position where the sniper is either aware or unaware of you, yet you're within your most effective range against him, in a vacuum, you suck if you can't deal with that sniper. Why did you strafe in a straight line? Why didn't you jump or crouch or both at the same time to throw his aim off? Why did you flick your aim too far? Again, this is assuming that Sniper is in a position where the vacuum scenario works. The reality is, as my footage has shown, there are times where the Sniper almost seems guarded by other classes, but the rules of engagement remain the same. Assess priorities, and if you are even ready to deal with a particular threat or group of threats at a particular moment. The reality is,
the bad water footage is what I'm referring to. I think people who have been paying attention to the video will understand what I mean when I say that.
Where the sniper almost seems guarded by other classes, but the rules of engagement remain.
Some crazy people even use Blender No, I don't understand that because Blender's a 3D modeling and animation tool. I don't understand how you can edit videos in that.
The same. Assess priorities, and if you are even ready to deal with a particular threat or group of threats at a particular moment in time, then strategize your move. If it's an engineer around a sniper, perhaps blend into the team and get the jump on the sniper just so that he's down. If the sentry gets you, perhaps it's a worthy sacrifice. It all depends on the conditions of battle. Perhaps other players can cover in areas you're not yet ready to deal with. That's perfectly fine too. The beauty of TF2 is that in its nature as a team game, nobody gets to be a one-man show all the time. There are points where not even the most skilled at a certain class can deal with certain threats. You will die at some point. Learn from it. Learn from it. Don't make up copes about damage thresholds. Buckle down and get good.
Way to tell him, bro.
This idea essentially makes the sniper rifle deal less damage at closer range, so that quickscoping classes pressuring the sniper can't die as easily. As explained through the other nerf suggestions, this is stupid. I don't even need to write anything else on the matter outside of this isn't how bullets work, and it would be unintuitive. It's just dumb.
Truk. One moment.
It's just the overwhelming beauty smell. Okay. Stretch. Okay.
Apologies. One must say hello to his wife every so often and stretch his back. Blender has a video editing workflow. They make their movies using it, and I use it for my slideshows because unlike Resolve, it can easily reload images from disk. Oh. That actually does sound kind of useful.
As mentioned previously, a fellow named Zenith tried this out in a duel, and it didn't work well. It wound up playing out as a fight to see who could outlag the other. Even if the scope-in animation was altered to account for the slower time to charge the rifle, it would just feel sluggish in an environment where every other action at base isn't sluggish. At that point, why not just make it so that the sniper takes longer to scope in, like he did in his very rudimentary stages in Quake TF? It just operates as a spite of Sniper's mechanics for no other reason than to just make him too inconvenient to actually play. It's quite a testament to the level of intelligence the Sniper's detractors tend to have when there's more nerfs seeking to only spite the class instead of consider balance, even in regards to all classes.
Yeah, that is what it would be, though. Spite changes. You gotta love spite changes, right? That's how TF2 was balanced, after all.
This changes nothing about why people complain about Sniper. This just makes Sniper more inconvenient to play as by lagging his functions. This is just silly. This is a bit of a complicated one that would require some form of testing, but what I can ascertain from just thinking about it is that it wouldn't necessarily change the nature of quickscoping. By itself, this change would still present the supposed issue people have with Sniper being capable of taking the high-risk quickscope shot, producing the same amount of damage. It might be effective for heavyweight classes that draw fire from the Sniper, but even with that in mind, Sniper can still reposition and take quickscopes at them regardless. On the higher levels of play, this is what Sniper does anyway, so this wouldn't necessarily resolve anything. Again, some testing on this would be interesting, but the balance of just how much damage takes away a certain amount of charge would rest on a razor's edge. At that point, the mechanic becomes too cumbersome to justify because it leaves too many variables open for needless complexity.
Oh, that nerf was nerf 9, by the way, which is basically chipping your charge meter away when you take damage. And it depends on how far... It would have to depend on how far away somebody is and, like, whether or not their damage fall-off percentage applies to the charge, or if it's the actual damage number that applies to the charge, or if it's the distance from them firing at you that determines the charge's chip out, essentially. Like I said, it's too cumbersome to deal with, and in a game where everything is very simple already, there's no reason for something like that, something like the charge mechanic, to be that complicated. It's just not.
Let's take this rather opportune moment to recap the history of Sniper, what he was meant to do, what he did, what he was meant to do in this game, and what he does in this game. Sniper was the second of the first 5 classes in Team Fortress history. His role throughout... Let's take this rather opportune moment... Let's take this rather opportune...
Okay, so this is the addressal of the nerf that suggests removing Sniper from the game entirely.
Let's take this rather opportune moment to recap the...
How long you gonna work on this? Until it's done. If you mean in this particular stream, I don't know, maybe like 20, 30 more minutes, and then I have other work I need to do. But, like, this video has been in the making for months and months and months, so however long I need to is really the only answer I can give. Yeah, it's long and hard, but, you know, that's the path to success, is a very long and arduous, difficult process. And a lot of eyesores.
Sniper was the second of the first 5 classes in Team Fortress history. His role throughout Quake Team Fortress...
That image is literally on Google, lol. Yeah, that's pretty much every image that I could use. It was nice for the background graphic.
Sniper was the second of the first 5 classes in Team Fortress history. His role throughout Quake Team Fortress, Quake World Team Fortress, and Team Fortress Classic was primarily as a defenseman for the general points of interest. He could defend areas of a map like strongholds and capture points through leveraging other areas like longer choke points and large sightlines. In the hands of the right player, he was incredibly formidable, yet he still had weaknesses exploitable by spies, scouts, opposing snipers, and any class that could generate enough speed to get in his face quick enough. Sniper was not as viable in defending particular areas like Engineer with sentry placements and Heavy Weapons Guy just by sitting on a spot, but he could certainly maintain control over the surrounding areas. Sniper's method of dealing damage had to be calculated and balanced to ensure that players understood the threat they were dealing with. Sniper, like any other class, had the capacity to dominate in the hands of the right player, and especially within the environments that suit his strengths best, like Two Forts battlements. With that being said, Sniper has virtually no other useful form of damage outside of his grenades to complement his rifle, meaning that if the class was to be played by people and not overlooked as a weak mistake, he needed to be just strong enough to impose a kind of dominance while never having the upper hand unilaterally. Thus, Sniper's rifle increased in damage proportional to a 3-second charge. He could not initiate said charge until he was standing still, creating a dynamic where, if the Sniper can be consistently pushed around, he'll never have a chance to be as useful to his team as opposed to standing in one spot and picking people off one by one. Sniper in these older games is incredibly weak to pressure from more than one source at a time, especially if they're coming from different sides of the battlefield. To provide enough benefit for the class to be worth people's time, the developers saw it fit for maximum damage threshold on headshot to kill even the most buffed class in the game, assuming he can land the shot. It takes time, potentially precious time, especially in a game where events happen quickly. QTF is a fast game. TFC is a faster game, especially when considering the mastery of b-hopping as a high-level engine exploit that all classes can benefit from. In neither game is it enabled automatically, just as a side note. This damage threshold was also to keep Sniper viable enough for team-wide combat against classes that can demolish each other in less than 2 seconds. The time it takes for Sniper to stop moving, start charging, refine his positioning, then firing the shot is in a similar time frame to how classes like Soldier, Demolitions Man, and Heavy Weapons Guy can be immediately primed for combat upon entering a heavily contested area through their high-damage weaponry. This isn't even considering how almost every class has standard frag grenades and secondary grenades more or less specialized to their class roles and optimal playstyles. Once those are factored in, Sniper's damage threshold makes sense within the grand scope of the game. Team Fortress 2, on the other hand, very much shies away from its legacy. Building upon the improved graphics and revolutionary physics for its time through the Source engine, TF2 had much more to work with. In the Half-Life engine, a redux of the Quake engine, rocket jumping was still considered a movement bug. As such, it functions vastly different to how rocket jumping in TF2 functions, which was then created as an intentional mechanic that could assist soldiers' gameplay to compensate for his low walking speed. Class mechanics throughout the roster were overhauled tremendously, with the final result coming out to where half of the classes are barely recognizable. This is partially a result of game mode types no longer...
I think you should include that sniper scope exploit. What exploit? I don't know what you mean.
requiring the exact same class roles as previous iterations, and partly a result of working within the Source engine itself. Armor is gone, with health pools readjusted to compensate. Grenades are gone. Spy only has one gun by comparison and trades feigning death for invisibility. Scout is now an in-your-face fighter instead of a flag runner. Medic is far more functional as a healer. Demo Man can place explosives on walls. Heavy's bullets no longer do significant knockback, and he can even be slightly moved by explosive damage as opposed to not being movable at all by such damage sources. Pyro has no incendiary rocket launcher and had an additional capability added after the game's launch in the form of repelling projectiles for standard damage and then some. Engineer can move buildings now, with building material costs changing on top of using an engineer-specific resource shared with ammunition packs that teammates no longer have to give him, like they used to with energy cells in TFC. Sniper, by and large...
What?
You could.
I'm listening to this chapter to like...
Okay, I just hear...
Am I breathing that loud? Oh, sorry.
I got worried for you.
No, sorry. I'm just locked into thinking because I'm trying to construct how I want the visuals to look in my mind.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was being creepy or anything. Oops.
Which remained unchanged intrinsically. To compensate for the relatively slower speed of the game,
Now
he
I'm
can
self-aware.
no longer hip-fire his rifle. His minimum headshot damage only arrives at a timed buffer within a scope. This scope also gives him just a circle's range of vision, ensuring that he can't take too large an advantage by seeing the battlefield through the whole monitor and emulating a real scope. Sniper has only one self-defense weapon instead of two, excluding his melee. The additional capabilities of other classes make him more susceptible to certain threats than previous iterations, with the upside being that grenades are no longer a universal projectile to worry about. His primary targets are still the same, as much as he is the primary target for the same classes as before. His damage threshold, though calculated differently to reflect armor and health values, is the same. He still has to wait 3 seconds before killing the most potentially buffed mercenary, with that time still possibly being precious depending on the game circumstance. And due to what was, at one point, new ground for the franchise in the form of new official game modes, different map design philosophy determined directly by the new engine and mechanics within, and various new ways of playing the game with the class balance overhaul, Sniper's power is still necessary for the game at base. Sniper is a direct countermeasure to players that think they can run around the map largely unpunished. At a decent level of proficiency, snipers can punish scouts for trying to access the flank too soon. Sniper can also take advantage of the innate risk soldiers take in rocket jumping, namely that they deal damage to themselves and travel in relatively predictable arcs, since they have no double jump like Scout. Snipers are incredibly important counters to heavies that can, at times of well-formulated and even loosely communicative teams, find themselves protected by other teammates from spies, demo men, soldiers, engineers, and opposing heavies, classes that would, under circumstances where the heavy is playing more independently, pose a genuine threat to him. When all else fails, Sniper is the only one to potentially break this defense. To remove such a class from the game would, in no uncertain terms, transform TF2 into a solved game. This is far more of a guarantee than just a damage decrease, since the removal of Sniper means no punishment for classes and particular loadout combinations that benefit from flanking and scurrying across the map largely unseen. There is no constant sense of pressure, since there is no longer a reminder for players to always stay alert. All they need to do is maintain a brief awareness from area to area just to ensure they don't run headfirst into a sentry gun, a gun that they can hear and prepare for ahead of time anyways. Gamers are, in a weird analogous sense, like water. They will take the path of least resistance at any opportunity they can because that's just how human beings are. We favor convenience at virtually any opportunity. The convenience this would create is a scenario where, regardless of game mode, a medic and heavy of even remotely decent skill can determine the outcome of a game. When combined with teammates that know how to play together and routinely spy check, or even if the heavy himself is good at spy checking, This severely limits the one class that would now be needing to juggle the roles of disruptor and facilitator on the proactive and reactive ends. Spy is designed to disrupt an enemy team's core from within and facilitate his own team to take advantage of the momentary scattering. Sniper is designed to disrupt an enemy team's core from far outside most of the class's effective range, and facilitate his own team to take advantage of the moments when the enemy team, in response to Sniper, plays too carefully to be ready for various other threats. Sniper and Spy complement each other in this way as teammates as much as they contest each other as rivals. Spy is an antagonizer, Sniper is a punisher. To remove the Punisher would be to thrust that role largely onto Spy, as every other class is already required to play to their own strengths and weaknesses through far more direct means of combat. Spy cannot take on both roles efficiently. He needs Sniper on his team as much as a Sniper would need a Spy on his team. If, say, Spy was removed, teams can very easily figure out how to hold themselves in and time each other out for ubercharge and full-scale assaults, rendering Sniper useless until the action begins. And even when the action does begin, he would be needing to only seek the other Sniper, as standard ubercharge invalidates the other primary targets he is designed to kill for just long enough to deal potentially significant damage to his own team, especially if his own team's medic isn't ready for ubercharge when the enemy is. As a result, Sniper's purpose as a punisher is rendered virtually useless. Yes, he can take out plenty of other threats like scouts, pyros, demomen, and soldiers, but without a disruptor to assist from within, he cannot deal with engineers and preparing medics. These particular threats would need to be left to his teammates, who even still would need to ensure that circumstances are optimal to strike without the communication a Spy can give his team from the backlines. This is why Sniper and Spy are labeled as support classes. They support their own team by facilitating circumstances beneficial to them by covering both sides of the disruptive coin, so to speak. They require each other's existence for the game to function outside of a meta build-focused team deathmatch shooter. In short, Sniper is needed for TF2 just as he was all the way back in day one of Team Fortress history. He is a pivotal facilitator with a side benefit of defending his team's overall objective, regardless of what team he's on. His damage threshold is rivaled only by himself and a class that has a completely different role while serving the same critical end. In spite of that, he is weak, and should conditions be unfavorable or the timing of his arrival be off even by a little, his team suffers drastically by not having his high damage output available as readily as the other team.
Oh, shoot. What happened? Why did it cut off? That's not good. Did I not record that part? Oh dear, that's a little scuffed. What happened here?
Plenty of other threats like scouts, pyros, his damage threshold is rivaled only by himself and a class that has a completely different role while serving the same critical end. In spite of that, he is weak, and should conditions be unfavorable or the timing of his arrival be off even by a little, his team suffers drastically by not having his high damage output available as readily as the other team possibly does.
That is so awkward. I can't believe I screwed that up. I'm going to have to chop this here. And, no, skip the update. Screw Audacity, by the way, for not, for changing their logo. I hate them for that so much. Snake is hyperventilating. Yeah. What?
Pizza for dinner?
Sure.
It just occurred to me I could make pizza for dinner. That'd be the easiest thing ever.
Sure, that'd be great, yeah.
My brain started working.
That sounds great. Breaking news. I set up spam protection in your Discord in the meantime. Enjoy. Hooray! Thank you, Torred. You're the boss. Metal Snake. Metal Gear. This script feels AI, not gonna lie. Well, that's why I live streamed the process of rewriting the script. Because in the events that people thought I did, I can prove that it's not. I didn't live stream literally every second of the aspect, but I have left enough to where I think it is adequate to prove. What's up?
I can turn this on,
Yeah, totally. It's far enough away to where I don't think it needs the...
Okay, I'm just asking. 'Cause
Yeah. No, yeah, you're good. I'm sorry that good scripts are so infrequent now to the point where it's...
His team suffers drastically by not having his high damage output available as readily as the other team possibly does.
Okay. That was me losing my voice there at the end. Okay, so let me... I believe how to do this is amplify to maximum and then export audio to computer. SS. Let's do endpoint from awkward cut off. And mono track. Yeah. There we go. So now there should be a new SS file. There we go. And I can now sort of... Can I slide this under and sync them? Because I'd like to sync them here. That might be as well synced as I can get it to be. There we go. Okay. Let's just cut that, slot it in.
Of his arrival be little, his team suffers drastically by not having his high damage output available as readily as the other team possibly does.
There we go. All fixed. Oh, yes, that's a good idea. Yeah. Since it's not as hot today, we're not going to get radiated with heat from the windows. Yeah. It's been a bit hot recently, summertime and all that. Audacity has the audacity to change their logo. Yeah, pretty much.
His team.
That's pretty much it. Okay, holy cow. Slow down, computer. Okay, so this segment's going to take a bit of time because it's basically the length of one of the arguments. But I do know how I'm going to edit it together. It's going to be very simple and straightforward. Just so that the point can stand on its own and I don't have to, I don't have to do too terribly much to bolster it because it already stands pretty well on its own. Let there be light. The sun? How very ungamer of you. Yeah, I know, right? Well, to be fair, the sun's behind the clouds, so... For some reason, today they marked it as a warm day, but that there was a chance of thunderstorms of all things, so not only did it drizzle earlier today, but it is exceptionally muggy. It is a muggy, 90 degrees outside right now, which is honestly worse, in my opinion, than 110 straight dry heat, which is what we typically get in the summertime because of where I live. But, trade-offs, right? Life is a series of trade-offs. You got upsides and downsides to everything, so what are you going to do,
Let's take this rather opportune moment.
Okay, so it's chugging a bit right now, so I'm just going to reload the project file. The trailer is cooked if that happens. It's already happened, and it's still here, so, All it really does is just make the need for air conditioning more important, and I got to fix my air conditioning units, but we've survived, so it'll be all right. Do you have AC? Yeah, I've got AC. There's a side unit in the bedroom that we then push all the air out with a fan into the main room. And the central ACU doesn't work. When I began renting the trailer, it wasn't already working. I want to see if I can fix it because I don't know if I don't know if I can get it to work again, but I just want to try. I just don't know where to start really with it because trailer air conditioning units are a bit awkward, and from how old this thing is or how much it's already taken, from neither of which I really know, it's possible that it can't be fixed. So, as the kids say, it is what it is, right? Wow, and we Europeans get nothing. How do you have electricity? The trailer sits on a friend's property, and we rent this place from them. And in return, they provide us power through a panel in the shed just a couple yards away.
These are all very good questions.
What?
These are all very good questions.
Yeah. Very personal questions, though. You better not ask me my address next. Yeah, shut up. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, we're very fortunate to know some very generous folks that just help us out, because we're not quite at the position yet where we could live in an apartment or rent a house yet. So in the meantime, we've got this, and I'm just doing the best I can to get us out of here before we have a kid, or at least before the kid turns, 2 at the very worst, because we do need to be out of here at some point in our lives,
Let's take this rather opportune moment to recap the history of Sniper.
Recap the history of Sniper, he says. Oh, look at this nerd. This guy thinks he knows everything. I do know everything. I know ball, as the kids say. No, that's stupid. What is your full name? Ha 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 ha. I'm not telling you. Although I'm sure if you're smart enough, you can find it out for yourself, considering that technically is publicly available. But, again, I'm not telling you. You're gonna have to find that out for yourself. That's not that. Let's go to pictures. I need that image that I took the snapshot of. The, gosh, where even is the snapshot? It's this one.
Let's take this rather opportune moment to recap the history of Sniper, what he was meant to do, what he did, what he was meant to do in this game, and what he does in this game. Sniper was the... Let's take...
Actually, what I could do is just use that Sniper banner, the one that I got made fun of for it being findable on Google. Just use this one. It goes kind of hard, honestly. I like it.